let's get to one of our other big topics, which I know
Yes.
is huge, which is modifications.
Ooh.
I have a child support order, but now, I don't know, child has more needs, situation has changed, not sure
Mm-hmm.
what's going on. For what reasons can a woman actually get a child support modification? Because clearly, if you're getting a modification, I'm certain you want more money. It's not like you're saying, hey, he doesn't have to pay as much.
Absolutely. So when mom says, okay, my child's expenses have gone up exponentially. He was 6 months old when we did the child support order. He's now 11, playing all sorts of sports and everything costs more, or whatever it is. First, I want to tell people when they can file a modification. There has to be a change in circumstance, first of all. Mom's income could decrease because keep in mind, Georgia child support is based on the income of both parents.
That's right.
So mom's income could have decreased. Mom could have had another child, because they do take into consideration that. So you could have another child and the expenses for the child with this particular dad have gone up. There's all sorts of reasons why you may need more money, okay? So the first child support modification can really be filed at any time when there's some sort of change in circumstance. Typically after that, after the first modification, mom can file for a modification basically every 2 years or 2 years or more. Some people wait, some people wait too long. But mom can file a child support modification after 2 years. The first one can be whenever there's a change in circumstance, okay? So I always advise, because of the way Georgia child support is for mom to get a consultation first before paying an attorney a retainer, okay? Now, if your child support is being paid through DCSS, the Department of Child Support Services, you can go in and ask them to do a review of your child support amount. They'll send a letter to dad asking him to produce documents. The only problem with that is they can't move as quickly as a private attorney because of the sheer volume of cases that they have. But go into your attorney, do a consultation, provide the information necessary for the child support worksheet to see if the income, if the child support will go up or down. So I had a lady come in, I've had this happen more than once, actually, with the current Georgia child support law, which changed in 2007. So mom's income had gone up. She, for whatever reason, she knew what her ex-husband's income was. The child had more expenses, but one of the things that was in her last child support order was daycare. It was actually included in the worksheet. Of course, this kid at this age doesn't have daycare.
Right.
So when we put all the factors in there, it ended up being less. So she was like, thank you for the consultation. I'll just ride this thing out, okay? So it's important. And sometimes, women are saying, how do I know what he earns if I don't know? I don't know what number to put in the child support worksheet. So what we do is we kind of guess and play with the numbers. We know we know all the factors on her side of the equation, right? We know what her income is. If she's providing the medical insurance for the child, we know the cost of the child special needs, those are information in there. And then we guess what dad's income is, and I'll run several different worksheets with dad's income to see what the number comes out to be. And so if 75% of the time that number is coming out with an increase in child support, then it may behoove us to go ahead and file. But you have to be careful, because you don't want to file child support and it goes down. Now, I have had some ladies file for modification of child support, and when we get into the case, there's no modification because of the way the child support worksheet is. Again, in fact, mom's income had increased quite a bit. Dad's income had stayed rather steady. And so dad was then trying to argue that the child support should go down, but the judge, the judge declined. But we didn't know that. And actually, in that particular case, we did it as a counterclaim because dad wanted custody. But you've got to make certain before you file if there's going to be an increase to the best of your ability. And sometimes that means that you have to run a worksheet kind of guessing what dad's income is. But typically, if it's been 3, 4, 5 years, somewhere up in there, more than likely you're going to have an increase. But still run the worksheet just to be safe.
And for a woman who's considering a modification, what she should be doing to prepare?
I would say the same things that we've talked about before, in addition to, of course, keep in mind child support's based on both parents' income. So have her income information, have the expenses ready for the child. For instance, if there's child care, and remind me to talk about private school. Private school, whatever the costs are for the child, have that information, and then have whatever information that she can gather on dad. Like if dad lived over, in an apartment, and now he's got a 5-bedroom estate.
Right.
5 bathrooms.
On Zillow, like take that address, drop that in Zillow. Where's he living?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. And because keep in mind, parents are supposed to keep each other apprised of their current address. That's typically in the court order.
Okay.
All right.
Gotcha.
And I wanted to say something about private school.
Yeah.
Now, if ladies are establishing their initial child support order and the child is in private school, I'm not talking about daycare now. I'm talking like a Woodward, a St. Pius, whatever. If the child's in private school and that's something that dad wants to maintain, that amount would be included in the worksheet oftentimes, or it could be outside. But keep in mind that a court cannot require dad to pay for private school. However, if the child has always been in private school and dad agreed to private school in the initial child support order, then the likelihood of getting the court to order that the child continues in private school is great. That likelihood is great because, again, the most important thing is not to disturb the lifestyle of the child.
Right.
And unless dad has had some sort of traumatic income deduction or whatever, he can't agree in 2018 to pay for private school. He's still living his best life, and now in 2021 he wants to take that away. All right. So it's kind of like getting dad to agree to college, right? Once the court can't order it, but once he agreed to it and
if he agrees,
it's a court order, it's enforceable. So same thing.
Okay.
So
very helpful.
Okay.
Very helpful.
Right.
Anything else about modifications? Because I have a few general questions I want to ask you. Anything else you want to share?
Well, let me look at my notes just a second.
Okay.
I got a cheat sheet.
Go ahead, girl. Take your time.
I want to make sure
I can
the process takes about the same amount of time as it does to establish a support order, but sometimes it could be a little shorter.
Okay.
I find that just depends on how hard the other side is fighting the case.
Okay.
So some modifications, of course, dad will end up coming up with an agreement rather quickly. Those may take 2-3 months. Some I'm still around the 6 to 8 month period, and some of the longer ones, go up to a year.
Yeah. And I'm glad you said that, Tanya, because I think it's really important, again, that we establish expectations here. And we need women to settle in and understand that this is just how it is. So there's no need in being frustrated about the fact that it could take you 8 months. And you know that coming in, settle in and prepare for that. And if it takes 4, then you can be like, oh my God, what a wonderful surprise. But be prepared for it to take a long time.
Well, I will just say that proper preparation and very thorough discovery helps get cases settled. Okay. So if mom can gather as much in every scenario that we're discussing, if mom can gather as much information as she can about that income and lifestyle, that's good. Even when the case is going on, continue to do that. The better you have discovery, the likelihood your case will settle.
Okay.
Some of the common mistakes that women make when they want a child support modification, not getting a consultation and running that worksheet first. You do not want your child support to go down, because if dad realizes that he can get a decrease, he's going to counterclaim for that decrease. Okay.
Come on now. Right.
Yep. Something that surprises women when applying for the modification is that child support going down, or the fact that dad may then use that as another opportunity to ask for custody.
Custody, right.
Okay, so
yeah, be prepared.
Be prepared. Now, if mom lives in a different county than dad, like let's say mom files for a modification, dad lives in Fulton County, mom lives in Henry County, that's not going to be able to counterclaim for modification. That has to be filed in the county where the defendant or respondent resides. So dad will have to do that in another county.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Very helpful. Okay. We're bringing it on in. Just a few questions for you. Can a woman deny the father visitation if he is not paying child support?
No. Listen, if dad has an order for parenting time, you know, you heard what your grandmama said, 2 rights don't make a wrong. That is the same in court, sweetheart. You do not want to have dad file a contempt against you for your failure to allow him to have his parenting time. And keep in mind, if you do it too much, there could be, you know, part of the purge for that could be a change in the schedule. Right. And if there's multiple contempts against mom for not allowing parenting time, dad might seek custody and he could win. Right. And that could be one of the factors that's held against you. So quick answer, no.
If you don't have court-ordered child support, okay, wait a minute. You have court-ordered child support, but you don't have a visitation agreement.
Right.
He's not paying child support. Can she withhold visitation? Or if she does, what are the consequences of that? There's no visitation.
Oh, there's no visitation order. I'm sorry, Dad. You're going to have to pay some money. Or you won't see baby boy. I'm sorry. If there's no court-ordered visitation, I have this case right now. I have this case right now. You know, yes, I do. And that's the only way we got dad to pay some money, you know, because he wants to see there's no court-ordered visitation though. He hasn't done what he's supposed to do as a father to establish himself as a legitimate father and to have a parenting schedule. That's his fault. He's in Georgia. He had a baby out of wedlock. That's your penalty in Georgia. You have responsibilities and no right. So the woman did establish child support, but he did not establish his parenting time. And so
what I hear you saying though is if a woman decides I'm going to go for, I'm going to get this child support, it's on him now to move forward with visitation and all that other stuff. He needs to engage his attorney or whatever all that looks like. She could just focus on the money and keep going.
Let's unpack it a little bit. We got a few different scenarios. Okay, let's say they're unmarried. Okay. Unmarried. That's step one. They're unmarried. So mom has filed a petition for child support, or DCSS has established child support. A lot of men will go down there and say, why am I paying? I don't get to see my kid. Well, the Department of Child Support Services is a collection agency for child support, period. They do not establish your visitation, sir. So you have got to contact an attorney, legitimate your child, and get your parenting time established. If that hasn't happened, and you know, you're not paying mom, I'm not saying 2 wrongs, you know, I'm not saying all that, but I'm saying that dad really needs to step up to the plate and pay the child support. You want to hang out with the kid, you want to go to soccer, and you want to go to football, and you want to go to basketball, but you don't want to pay. Well, sir, you know what? I'm just going to withhold this. Now that might require, dad will probably likely go file for the parenting time, which is when you probably need to file for some kind of modification of your child support if you meet the requirements.
Okay, very helpful. Woman decides she's going to hire an attorney. How does she know if she has a good one?
Well, I think she needs to consider how she got to the attorney. Was it a referral? Did she just Google something? Check whatever kind of reviews and see if, you know, I think that certain attorneys handle child support in a more conscientious fashion, care about the mom and the children involved. Some attorneys, depending on the situation, are just trying to run up a retainer.
Right.
Okay. And I hate to say that about some of my colleagues, but it's a fact.
Sure.
So we got to look at, you know, all the things that I mentioned before about getting the information.
Right.
They need to make certain that there's a constant flow of information from the client and the attorney or the attorney's office, the progress. So, you know, if you could get a referral, that's much better than Googling or using some kind of referral service that's non-personal to you. So I would ask around, because there are a lot of good attorneys out here. And some of these young attorneys, ooh, they make me proud. Ooh, there's some good ones.
Right.
Ooh.
Any particular questions that you would advise them to ask? So say you're interviewing an attorney, any top 4 questions you would suggest?
Well, sure. I would, you know, if you're not familiar with the attorney, of course you can ask them how long they've been practicing, how long have they been practicing family law, because some attorneys, I get in some cases with some attorneys who've been practicing a long time, but they've been doing personal injury, and they're doing this family law case for their cousin or somebody, and it is horrible.
Oh God, please don't do that.
Yeah, so make sure that the attorney practices family law.
Yeah.
If you're trying to get your child support established, you now have the cheat sheet. You need to go to the first segment and find out what kind of discovery needs to be done on the father, and ask that to the attorney. Ask the attorney, how are we going to be able to establish dad's income, right? What are the things that we are going to do? How long is it going to take? What type of information do you need from me? Is there a possibility that he could file for custody? You know, those are some really important questions. And if the attorney is not clear and they're equivocating on their answers, they may not do family law. If they're like, boom, 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 okay, this is what they do. But if they're like, well, I don't know and I'm not sure, like I can say I don't know how long a case will last, but I can tell you it depends on how the case is being contested. In this situation, 3-4 months, 6 to 8, over a year.
Okay, lovely. Anything else in general that you'd like to share?
Well, I just want to make certain that moms know when they are pursuing child support that it is support for the child. And so be careful about dads trying to talk you into waiving any of that. That happens a lot because sometimes we women are still somewhat emotionally attached to dad. And so we'll, quote, go easy on them. We'll give them a break. And then we won't have everything that we need for our children. And if we could just focus on what our child needs and their future, not that you're being hard, but you're doing everything that you can as a mom to take care of your kid, as a parent, because sometimes the dad is seeking child support. He may have custody, but as a parent, mom, really focus on your children and their needs and be the best mom that you can be, and document everything.
Tanya Mitchell Graham, girl, all I gotta say is you are amazing. And I just know the number of lives that will be impacted as a result of this. And I don't just mean the mothers and the wives, I'm thinking about the children too. You know? Yeah,
I think about the children first.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And as mothers, you know, first and foremost, I'm very grateful to be able to share this wealth of knowledge and access to you for all the women who cannot get in touch with you, don't know you, may not be able to afford you, but I appreciate you being so generous with your time and so generous with all the information that you've shared with us today. So
I just appreciate the opportunity to share, because I do recognize and understand that everyone cannot afford an attorney.
Right.
And it is really a good thing just to be able to share some of the information.
Yeah,
so that they can at least get a foundation of where to start doing their research, and they can proceed from there.
And what would you like to share as far as people following you, your website, anything that you would like to share with the audience?
Sure, sure. I have Instagram. I can be followed at TMGESQ. We have a law firm Instagram, which is at TMGPC, and the same too for Twitter. The website is www.tmgesq.com. You can reach out to us there. We are extremely busy. And so I just appreciate the opportunity to pause and just give back. I think that is critically important for people to have information. There is so much misinformation in the streets about how to handle child support and other family law matters. And so I just relish in the opportunity to set the record straight. And so let's do what we can to take care of our children and to create viable, productive, and positive young men and women. And part of that starts with the support that they get.
Absolutely.
Yep.
So again, it's Tanya Mitchell Graham from the Law Office of Tanya Mitchell Graham, PC. So grateful for you being on our child support edition of the Thank Me Later series in real life.
I appreciate being here.
Oh, no. Listen, honey, you gonna be back. We have lots to talk about. So this is phase one, step one. Again, thank you for being so generous with your time. I appreciate you so much.